Hello, friends. Welcome to Gentleman Cadet Academy GCA. Hope you are doing good. So, another video in the Leads Discussion GD topic series. And today, the video is regarding the major challenges in the Indian economy. And before this, I have made similar high level GD topics video. If you want to watch all these videos, the link of the playlist is available in the I button. So, this is a very important topic, and this topic is often repeated in SSB. So, prepare this topic well. So, like always, without wasting any time, let us start. So, the topic of the GD is what is the major challenge in the Indian economy? First lead is high inflation and cost of living. Second lead is slow pace of industrialization and innovation. And third lead is digital divide and technology adoption. So, let us discuss each lead one by one. So, talking about the first lead, high inflation and cost of living as a challenge in the Indian economy. So, talking about the inflation first, inflation is basically the general increase in prices of goods and services in an economy over time. And in India, high inflation has become a major concern due to its direct impact on the purchasing power of consumers. And essentially, as inflation rises, people can buy less with the same amount of money, which reduces their standard of living. And it impacts number of things. For example, impact on households. So the cost of essentials like food, fuel, housing, and healthcare have seen sharp increases in the recent years. For example, the prices of pulses, vegetables, and other staples have surged, hitting low and middle income groups the hardest. Then, talking about the disposable income, like as families are forced to spend more on essential goods, their disposable income reduces, leaving them with less money to spend on education, entertainment, or saving for the future. And also, inflation disproportionately affects the poor because they spend a higher percentage of their income on food and basic necessities, and higher income groups can absorb inflation better due to their larger wealth reserve. And the wage growth often fails to keep up with inflation, meaning that even if wages rise, they might not be enough to cover the rising cost of living. And this impacts the purchasing power of individuals, especially in sectors like agriculture, construction, and manufacturing, where wages are often low and growth is limited. And also, as inflation rises, it becomes harder for families to afford the same standard of living, pushing more people below the poverty line. And this contributes to deepening income inequality. And also, the rising cost of living without corresponding wage increases can lead to discontent among the population, potentially resulting in strikes, protest, or broader social instability. And in terms of monetary policy and interest rates, so the Reserve Bank of India uses interest rate adjustments to control inflation. For example, if inflation is high, then RBI may raise interest rate to curb spending and reduce demand. And while this helps to control inflation, higher interest rate also makes loans more expensive, which can slow down businesses' investment and consumption. So therefore, policymakers they face a delicate balance controlling inflation without stifling economic growth. And in order to counter this, the government may offer subsidies on essential items like food, fuel, and fertilizers to mitigate the impact of inflation on low income households. And ensuring the smooth functioning of supply chains and regulating prices can prevent excessive price hikes. For example, controlling the price of agriculture products and managing buffer stocks of key commodities can help stabilize prices. And the RBI may increase interest rate or intervene in the foreign exchange market to stabilize the value of the rupee, which impacts inflation through import cost. Then moving to the second lead, which is slow pace of industrialization and innovation. So industrialization is a critical engine for economic growth. It creates jobs, stimulates technological progress, increases productivity, and drives exports. However, India's industrial sector has been sluggish as compared to its global peers. So while the country has seen growth in sectors like services and agriculture, industrial output has lagged, and this poses a challenge for sustainable long-term growth. So it also leads to industrial slowdown. So despite being one of the world's largest economy, India's contribution of manufacturing to GDP is relatively low as compared to countries like China and South Korea. And the sector also faces structural challenges such as outdated infrastructure, complex labor laws, and poor technological integration. And unlike services, which are knowledge intensive, manufacturing creates mass employment. And the slow pace of industrialization limits India's ability to absorb a large and growing labor force, particularly in rural and semi urban areas. Then, also talking about the barriers to industrial growth. So, inadequate infrastructure, including roads, ports, and power supply, they leads to inefficiencies in industrial operations. For example, poor logistics and delays in transporting goods also hinder competitiveness. So, India's regulatory environment is often seen as complex with bureaucratic red tapeism and inconsistent implementation of policies. So, this discourages both domestic and foreign investors. Then, in terms of innovation challenges, also, India's industries are often slow. And while India excels in information technology, sectors like manufacturing and agriculture, they have lagged in incorporating automation, AI, and new production methods. And also, research and development spending in India is too low as compared to other developing economies. Then finally, I can say the slow pace of industrialization means that India remains overly dependent on the services sector, particularly IT and business process outsourcing, that is BPO. So while these sectors like the services sector, they have been a growth driver, but the over dependence on one sector leaves the economy vulnerable to global disruptions. And India has struggled to compete in high value manufacturing industries like electronics, machinery, and chemicals, where countries like China have a significant advantage. And in order to counter all this, government has launched various initiatives like Make in India back in 2014, which aims to boost domestic manufacturing and attract foreign investment. And the government has been working to improve the ease of doing business, reduce red tapeism, and create industrial corridors. And also, there have been incentives for innovation to promote research and development. The government can offer tax breaks, grants, and subsidies to encourage innovation in high tech industries. And finally, investments in infrastructure such as the development of industrial parks, better transportation networks, and improved power supply can help to improve the industrial growth environment. Now, moving to the third and the final lead, that is digital divide and technology adoption. So, India's technological landscape has grown exponentially in the recent years, especially in terms of internet penetration, mobile phone usage, and digital services. However, a significant digital divide remains between urban and rural populations, creating barriers to economic opportunities. While the urban areas they have widespread access to high-speed internet, digital services, and technological tools, but the rural areas they still face significant challenges. Internet penetration is lower in rural areas, and many people lack the necessary digital services or the skills to use them effectively. And also, this digital divide exacerbates existing social and economic inequalities. So urban populations, especially in the high-tech center cities, they have better access to digital education, online services, and job opportunities. Meanwhile, the rural populations they are excluded from all these benefits. Then also in terms of digital literacy, so in rural and semi-urban areas, digital literacy is still a major barrier. Many individuals, especially the older generations, they lack the skills to operate smartphones or access online services, which limits their participation in the digital economy. And as we know, that tech industry offers massive job potential, especially for younger people. However, the rural populations they are often unable to access these opportunities due to the lack of skills or technology. Especially the small and the medium-sized enterprises in rural areas, they often struggle to adopt digital tools, which limits their ability to reach wider markets, enhance efficiency, or manage operations effectively. And finally, the lack of access to digital technology stifles innovation, especially in sectors like agriculture, where technology could be used to improve crop yields, streamline supply chain, and enhance productivity. So, finally, concluding the topic, I can say the given challenges, that is, high inflation, slow pace of industrialization, and digital divide represent major roadblocks to India's long-term economic growth. So while India has made significant stride in certain areas, however, these challenges require coordinated policy responses and reforms. And addressing these issues will involve not only macroeconomic policy adjustment, but also investment in infrastructure, education, and technology to ensure that benefits of growth are broadly shared across all sections of the society. So, friends, this is all about the three leads discussion for the given topic. And as I mentioned in the starting, that it's an important topic. So, prepare this topic well. So, until then, keep learning, keep watching, keep supporting, and keep preparing. Thank you, and best of luck.